reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Welcome to Camp Resolve. We're grateful for the cooperation of your respective governments in the coming assault. We ask that you stay on alert for the duration of your time here. We've already seen hostile action at our camp boundaries. If you're unsure of how to be of most use, find a ranking officer in one of our 3 orders, and they'll find you a task. Good luck to each of you, and may Tyria prevail in the days ahead.
Happiness mode engaged.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ready for action.
Happy to meet you, hero.
Glad to have you with us.
You'll find everything you need here.
Hail, traveler.
Wake up, you motherless Ettins. It's time to go.
I'd offer the traditional pirate's greeting, but your spleen is better unperforated.
You're listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMOReporter, and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com. Another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. This is episode 161. I am Celeste, and as always, I'm joined by the frustrating Allona.
That is not alliteration.
I'm going off page today.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, clever Celeste. Aren't you being clever?
I am.
Clever girl. Words, those tricksy words. Yeah.
Tricksy hobbitses.
Allona. Typing. Holy crap. There we go. Hey. My typing skills are subpar at best.
Well, that's not really something that you can learn in game, but I am actually curious about what you may have done this weekend over, say, I don't know, a beta of some kind.
Beta? A beta?
Yeah.
A beta. I did, in fact, beta this weekend. All week. Well, not all. I actually tried to be good and take breaks so that I did not, collapse or anything.
Staying hydrated and, sleeping sometimes.
Yeah, but I definitely chronomanced.
Hooray!
Hooray for the chronomancer! And I played Reaper. We split the 4 elite specializations in 2. Mm-hmm. And I took Chronomancer and Reaper. So those were the 2 I focused on. I actually didn't play Revenant at all this beta. And I did kind of mean to, but I just didn't get around to it. For the Chronomancer, I already miss not being able to use a shield. I quite like the shield gameplay. Mm-hmm. That said, I was thinking about, and it's odd I didn't think about this prior, when it was first announced, but as I was playing, I thought it was interesting that, okay, well, what do I pair with the shield? And I only have the option of scepter or sword. And I got thinking, Mesmer's already had a lot of offhand options.
Yeah.
But they only had 2 main hand options, so I was kind of thinking it might be kind of nice to have main hand options other than just those 2. But this is just the beginning of elite specializations for the game as a whole, so I'm kind of hoping. Actually, we'll probably get a 2-handed next, now that I think about it. Mesmers?
Maybe.
Or at very least a main hand. Anyway, my first night on the Chronomancer, it was a little underwhelming. Which I was a little disappointed. I was trying to keep my hopes. I was I thought I'd like it more. And then the next day I moved on to the Reaper, and I liked it immediately. It felt powerful, and it was really organic to pick up. Shroud is fun. The Shroud is really nice. I have heard some grumblings about the Greatsword, but I really liked it. The grumblings were around how slow it is, but I liked the speed. Like, it felt slow but purposeful. I liked that. I've been told I'm wrong, but
You can't be wrong about saying the way that you felt.
well, yeah.
Everyone's wrong on the internet.
Everyone's wrong on the internet. However, I went back, did Chronomancer a few more times, and by Sunday, it clicked. Totally clicked. I worked out some decent synergy and flow, and it got to feel like a dance. And I loved it. I did like the wells initially. I know why it didn't click initially, because I'm not a skill reader, a tooltip reader. So I just kind of like button mash for a long time. And so I get used to what to expect on the screen and from my character. And then after that, I go ahead and read, okay, what's happening? Then I have the frame of reference for when I'm reading the tooltip. And it was like, okay, I see when this is happening, that's what this text means. So I have to do it in reverse, I think, than a lot of people who read first. That's why it clicked more for me. It was the, okay, now I read through and could work out, oh, okay, well, if I push into the shield 5 as it's coming back, then I get the alacrity. If I stay out of range of it, I don't benefit from that, but anyone else does. And I figured out how to get F5 to work. Interestingly, like, I kept trying to hit it off twice rather than just letting it time out. Because it does do a flip. You can crash it early if you want to, but you don't have to.
Right.
And I didn't realize that, because it's kind of like the Scepter 2 on the Mesmer is a block. Most other blocks in the game, if you don't block anything, there's a secondary thing that can happen. But Scepter 2 on the Mesmer, if it doesn't block anything, and if you don't fire off the bolt, the blinding bolt, you get 0 for that use.
So it's like you're trying to block and then immediately do the next skill as quickly as possible.
Or hope you block something before it times out.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that's what was happening with the F5. Like, oh, do I have to hit that before it times out, or do I lose it? Do you know what I mean? So it took me a little bit to figure out that part of it for the F5. But I did get able to hit my elite off twice in a row. And that was also the nice thing about the Shield 4. If it blocks, it resets and you can block again. And each one of those creates a clone. So you combine Shield with a Scepter, you can get some really crazy clone generation on the go. Well, no, Phantasm / clone generation on the go. It was kind of cool. So yeah, I really liked Chronomancer. Saturday, moving back a little bit in time, I got up at 4 a.m.
Right.
I watched nearly all of the World Tournament series, beginning to end. I may have napped a little bit in the middle. I think between 7 and like 8:30 or 9, I may have napped for a little bit.
Understandable.
Understandable. But it was really fantastic watching the World Tournament series live as it was happening. I'm really glad that I got up that early to watch it. Which was actually just an accident. I happened to just wake up at that time, check my phone, saw that it was going live, and went, oh, maybe I'll catch a match or two, and then ended up staying online the whole time. Yes, why Orange Show logo? Why? Congratulations to the Abjured. Why Orange logo? The first Orange logo Abjured match was phenomenal. Like, I wanted to go and yell esport things at Cal while he slept. Because I was so excited. It was like, it's before 6:30 in the morning. I haven't had coffee and I want to yell esports things.
Lovely.
It was very... I had Twitter to keep me company. Actually, Sithrith from Guild Wars Players was on, and we were like yammering back and forth at each other about the esports. Esports. We fractaled on Saturday night. I think I increased to 16. I think. Pretty sure that's what I did.
We did like level 15 or 16, I think.
I think we did level 16, and I was level 15, so I increased. We didn't do a Fungin after because most of us went back to the Verdant Brink, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. I ran a raw Path 4 on my Chronomancer with some of the Guildmag crew on a Sunday.
Cool.
Yeah. Arceus just sent me a whisper saying, hey, do you want to run Path 4? I went, okay. I wasn't really on with anyone at the time. They had already been at it for 2 hours because they were trying to 4-man it. And they also had Tempest and a...
Revenant?
Maybe. Drawing a blank now. In any event, you could watch it on YouTube if you want. I will have a link in the show notes. You can watch the whole thing. The link is actually from about when I joined, because I'm selfish that way. They were all really nice. So it was the first time I had met several of them. I met Arceus at PAX East. He was really nice, but now I got to talk with some of these other Guildmag crew, and they were all very, very nice.
Ah.
And then I did Sorrow's Embrace with Spirit from Relics of Ore, since she's everyone's dungeon Sherpa.
She is.
She was like, you need a dungeon? I'll take you through. I just made hero pose. You couldn't see that, but I did.
That's probably what she does too.
Actually, she may. And, I made huge headway toward collecting the Mordrim parts for the luminescent armor. I just have one bladder to go. And that is not something I'd ever thought I'd hear myself say. Just put that out there.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah. What was it? Yesterday, Cal and I were going out to see Ant-Man in the theater. But I thought, I'll just hop on and do my dailies. And so I was in Silver Wastes just for something really quick. And it was right at the breach. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I'll just do that. And then I'll just do the Vine Wrath. And then so we were almost late for the movie because I was doing all these things. So, yay. And just this morning, I broke the 600 gold mark.
Yay.
Yes. I feel very accomplished in my fake virtual world, I gotta say.
Hey, I mean, I totally get it.
Like, look at all that gold. It only took me almost 3 years to get here. Yay!
Believe me, I get it. I pinched coppers for a very long time.
Until you managed to get your legendary.
My legendary.
That you sold because monies.
Money.
The cash monies. So that's all I did. What did you do, Celeste? Did you do any beta-ing?
I did a ton of beta-ing. I started on Friday, as soon as somebody said, hey, it's open!
Yeah, because it went live early, didn't it?
Yeah, so I went and I created my Tempest, or Elementalist / Tempest, went through and played like crazy. I spent probably most of my time on the Tempest, but I also did some Dragon Hunter and some really, really bad Chronomancering, which unfortunately is on tape.
Realistically, I'd be very surprised if, it's a fine-tuned instrument, that one.
Yes, I am really bad at it, though. So there's that. I ended up settling into Scepter and Warhorn on the Tempest because I still don't feel really comfortable with being so close to an enemy on Dagger. Mm-hmm. It's just not how I roll.
Yeah.
I ended up spending most of my time attuned to water, which is completely different than what I normally do now because...
Bubble.
Well...
Do you like the bubble?
I love support Elementalist, but if you play support Elementalist and you're solo most of the time, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yes.
So, playing Tempest, you still have this really great balance between being very supporty when you need to be, and having those quick heals available to you at the ready. Mm-hmm. And you're able to also spec into a lot of damage. So it's I kind of finally feel like this is the Elementalist that I wanted to play from the beginning.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's finally you can go support with Tempest and have a really great time and run around by yourself or with friends.
But still feel productive.
Oh yeah. My regular Elementalist, before I switched up my build, when I was using my support build, yes, I could kill a veteran, but I'd be sitting there pounding on it for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now that I switched over to basically my DPS staff that I have on my regular elementalist, yes, I can kill a veteran, but there's also a chance that I'm going to die.
Okay.
With Tempest, I could kill it quickly, and I was not going to be going down.
Interesting.
So I really feel like it's a great balance between the two. The Warhorn skills grew on me.
Yeah, I remember Friday you were like, meh.
If you're around a lot of people, if you know how to use all of your fields, if you really get a good handle on this weapon's skills, you'll have fun with it. But they certainly do have their applications. You can't just spam them off as you could. You know, it's not like every skill is an AoE. No, that's not what's happening.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the overloads as well, which it was kind of ridiculous, but the way that I was traded for the overload was that I would be in an attunement for about 5 seconds. It was ready for overload. Hit the overload. Recharge, it's ready for overload. Hit the overload. Recharge, it's ready for overload.
So you think it's coming up a bit too quick?
I think it may have just been the way that I was traded.
Okay.
That may need to be tuned down a little bit.
Did you do much playing with your gear? Or did you kind of go with just the basic, what you had?
I went with soldiers. And I think for the jewelry I went Sinister?
Okay. I actually just used the base,
The Celestial?
Yeah, I want to get used to the ebb and flow and not necessarily worry about the numbers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to worry about trying to figure out the best stats for a particular build in this case. But so I was just curious though if that's what you had done.
No, I tried it for a little bit with the Celestial gear and then I was like, yeah, no. And it wasn't Sinister, I think it was Carrion that I used for the jewelry. Getting back to overloads, the other thing is that I didn't see any of the high risk. They touted overloads as being high risk, high reward. I saw like 0 risk.
Can you be interrupted?
Maybe, but I never was.
Well,
that could be a bug. I don't know.
Maybe it's a bug. Maybe you just got incredibly lucky.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah. I have no idea, though. I never played La Tempest.
As far as Dragon Hunter goes, it's kind of like playing a ranger that's just a heck of a lot more tanky.
I remember you going on and on about how much you love the traps, though.
The traps are pretty amazing, but they really need to be ground targeted. Everybody else has their wells and their traps ground targeted. It just makes sense.
Are traps ground targeted for Thief? Because they aren't for Ranger anymore. They took
That's true.
ability away.
Well, maybe that's why I don't use traps that often on my Ranger.
Yeah. I use traps a lot in PvP with my Ranger, and I've stopped using them because they were no longer ground targeted.
I guess that's something that they're getting away from, but then why did they make wells automatically ground targeted for Necros? It's kind of opposite.
I'm making right gesture. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know what it is, obviously.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I'm not sure how that was going, but a Dragon Hunter felt good. It wasn't like my piece of cake, but I had fun with it. It was fun.
What did you think of the learning curve between the two? Like I was saying that I found the learning curve with the Reaper smaller.
Dragon Hunter was pretty easy to pick up. I noticed that I was kind of squishy and I messed around with traits a lot more to kind of get away from that. But I still managed to stay up and get the job done, albeit a little bit slower than I would expect for a Guardian.
Did you find taking the elite specialization made going down to 2 cores to choose from really hard to find? I found it's like, but I want all 3 still.
Yeah, it's one of those where I kind of wish the points thing was still there because it's like, I want just the minor from this other line. Or not the minor, but, you know, the first set. I want this one from there to make that synergize with that. But I can't take the other ones off without messing with everything else.
Yeah. Well, I had to make the choice. Do I want this, or that? And that I didn't take was the line that has create clone on dodge.
Yeah.
Which I love. So I'm like, I felt naked.
I know, but there's a lot of clone creation with Chronomancer away from having to dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, It's your panic. That's why when I was doing Chronomancer, I did the staff, so I could do phase retreat.
Yes.
If I needed to hop away really quickly.
Something I just was reminded about with the wells that I liked was the number of combo fields that Mesmer has open to it now.
That's true. I noticed that there's a lot more. I mean, it's not like elves need more fields, but there's a lot more fields on other professions as well now with the elites.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm enjoying that. I get to blast them all.
Yes. Oh, I never really even mentioned, I loved the shouts on the Reaper. And maybe that's one of the reasons it felt pretty quick to pick up, is because shouts are easy. They're like, you shout something, stuff happens. Yay! Yeah. So they're pretty instant.
They're easy to pick up, that's for sure.
Low maintenance. I think so maybe that's, I like them. I would like to have shouts. Who is it? I think the chat was saying they missed, hashtag was saying they miss shouts. And Irish Dog misses it already, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I was playing through the Tempest, doing the whole beta, and I remember telling, I think it was you and a couple of other people in C3, and I was like, I wish that Tempest was in the game tomorrow.
Yes, I remember you saying that.
It's that fun.
Yeah. And yet, we just saw earlier today, who was it that tweeted out that on Reddit, Tempest was getting a lot of hate?
Yeah, I had seen that, and I was just kind of like, well, okay.
I mean, not everyone's going to love everything, obviously.
Yeah, and I think players that go maybe by spreadsheet numbers, it's not good. I don't know. I played it, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and when I went back to play as my regular Elementalist, I was bored.
Oh. Well, yeah, like anyone I know that was playing one was singing its praises for its fun gameplay. So
it's a lot of fun.
So I guess I see what you're saying there. If it's the almighty like number,
it may be that that's what's the problem. I can see the issue with the overloads, and maybe some of the shouts need to be fine tuned a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I like them, but they're a bit overpowered. Doesn't seem as exciting.
It might be hard to manage expectations. Like if you're expecting something and it's like for me, Bellboy, like taking away from, I can only go back to the Chronomancer. I was a little like, oh, I expected Chronomancer to be a lot more epic, like right out of the gate.
Oh yeah, and that's just not the way things are.
Well, it wasn't for me, so I had to like, okay, I need to manage my expectations. I had perhaps unrealistic expectations of this. But then when I got more used to it and played it a bit more, it was like, woo, it's awesome. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on too.
There's certainly going to be somewhat of a learning curve. Mm-hmm. And there's certainly going to be a lot of time spent trying to see, well, what happens if I do this? Mm-hmm. And 2 days is a lot of time, but it's not enough time to really get whole hog into a profession.
Yeah, to get super proficient at it, like just where it's almost second nature. You know exactly what you want to do in every situation. Like, oh, the enemy's doing that. This is my counter. Okay, this is what's happening. I got this in reserve.
Exactly.
The dance. Figuring out the moves to the dance.
The shouts, it's basically just another way to pile on conditions. All of them. I never really got rebound to work right. I probably wasn't doing it right. Because I have the auto 1 attack on.
Okay.
I think I probably blew rebound a couple of times with just the 1.
Oh, okay.
And I never really got to experience it fully because of that.
I wonder if... I mean, shouts are kind of underwhelming. Like, let's be honest. They're very utility.
They're gimme.
Yeah, they're there. But I'm wondering because the overloads are so big and overwhelming, I wonder if they specifically scaled it back on the utilities for the Tempest, because that's not where their bang is for their buck.
Because there's another way to utilize it. Perhaps.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's entirely possible and probably pretty likely.
When I was playing, Panther was playing with the Tempest, and he was like, ArenaNet loves Ellie. Like,
oh, yes.
I could tell you they love Ellie, because he was just having a hoot and a half on it. So,
yeah, they really love Elementalists, and I mean, we've talked quite a bit now about our experiences.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And I think I can safely say that I'm probably going to end up getting Heart of Thorns. I still haven't pre-purchased. I have a press key that allowed me to play during the beta.
I have a press key that is gathering dust because I pre-purchased.
I may have to buy the game just because I really love Tempest.
Well, you should, and also the gems.
I won't be getting Ultimate.
You get that one.
No.
You get it.
No.
Get it.
No.
Get
If I'm not going to let Ben spend $100 on Imperial Assault, I'm not going to let myself spend $100 on an expansion. The other thing that I did was Fractals on Saturday with you guys, and I am now up to level 10.
Everyone in the party actually had agony resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think, the first time for us.
Oh, okay. I had just put the infusions on, but, you know.
Well, yeah, that's all you need.
Well,
There's no point putting... I put them on after. What?
I was very uneducated and had made plus 10 agony infusions, okay? And did not know that I could not use them on the Ascended gear that I had.
Yeah.
So I had to go up to the bot there in the mists and say, hey, give me some infusions, man.
Well, yeah, because it...
Yeah, I still couldn't tell you the difference between offensive, defensive, infused, whatever, infusions. I still have that Necro build that I totally haven't done anything with because beta.
Well, reasons are reasons.
Yes. So, yeah. It's an infusion confusion. Very good.
Although I will point out Irish Dog, who is in chat, actually has, I think, 2 videos on YouTube about infusions for fractals.
Yeah.
For beginners. I watched it.
I'm lazy. So let's go ahead and talk about when we live stream. We live stream on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. EDT, 6:30 p.m. PDT, and I also found out that is 2:30 p.m. in Hawaii. So there you go.
Are we going to be from there? Can we go there?
I would like to.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Over at twitch.tv/MMOReporter. And you can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and a whole bunch of other places. And please remember to rate and review us so that other people know that we're a real podcast and that, you know, we are good at doing said podcast.
When we're not distracted by the way too distracting and wonderful chat.
Yes.
Chat that is now simply quoting Kids in the Hall.
Yes.
We actually got 2 iTunes reviews this week, but because we have droughts,
Yes.
for lack of a better word,
We have appreciation droughts.
we're just going to split this up. So the first one that we received was on August 6th, and it was a 5-star review from Cray Amber from the US, and they say their enthusiasm for the game is sincere and it comes across in their show. Knowledgeable and fun. I'm a fan. I like how direct this review was. I liked it.
Straight to the point.
To the point, does not mince words. I love it.
It's good stuff.
It gets 5 stars from me.
If reviews could get reviews.
Well,
We just did the review of the review.
Think we're ready for another attack?
From land, air, or sea, we won't be caught off guard again.
Report from Lion's Arch.
Long live Lion's Art.
points of interest. It was Josh Diaz was talking with Ruby initially, and it then followed up. Colin popped in to talk about some things as well. But first with Josh, he talked about the core Tyria masteries. They're going to be account-wide, apply to all characters, and are accessible for level 80 Heart of Thorns players only.
Yep.
There's a Pact Commander mastery, and it will give Pact Mentor. It unlocks a special mentoring badge accessible from the party menu. You will also display a new chat title when this is active. In Capital Corteria?
Yeah, because this only applies in Corteria. It's only in those cities. If there was a city associated with Heart of Thorns, it would not apply there.
Oh, interesting. So in cities, and you and your party will gain 5% swiftness. So, yay, swiftness. Yeah. So you'll get a little map marker so you can help players to the correct areas. Chat also has a mentor tag before your character name so you can answer questions in /M, etc. Pride is seeing others do well, which I think that's a lovely sentiment.
That's, basically the idea behind being a Pact Mentor, is that they want you to have that feeling as well, because they're proud of the people who are willing to do the mentor program and actually do it well.
Yeah. Very different from Commander tags, PvE mode only, no squatting or anything like that. I don't really know. I know what squads are, but I don't really understand how they're supposed to work.
Well, you'd be able to communicate with all of these people in your squad separately on the team channel.
Okay. He was asked a question from Ruby. Are you worried about abuse of the mentor system? What safeguards are in place? What rewards are possible for both? Josh replied, that's what the report system is for. You should use it.
Yeah. And then he went through a fairly long speech with this, but the summary is that players helping players makes for a healthier community, and having the mentor system in place allows for good behavior to be demonstrated and disseminated across the community by these people that choose to represent it.
Mm-hmm. And I think we've all seen those people in map chat anyway. Like if someone asks a question, there's usually kind of jokey, jerky answers, but there's always going to be at least one person, usually several, that answer very genuinely and sincerely and helpfully.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is for those people, basically.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the line, you'll stack up to 33% swiftness. It does not stack with other swiftness. Well, because they max out at 33, so.
Right.
Yeah. You don't need to have the mentor tag active in order to get this swiftness bonus, though, which is nice.
Right. So as long as you have the mastery done, then you'll get this swiftness in all of the city. And you don't have to actually be, a nice person or do the mentoring part of this. It's just optional.
Yep. And it's like a passive buff.
Yeah.
For finishing the mastery. Productive downtime, you gain bonus crafting XP, raising your crafting skill more quickly for each item crafted. What was this before? Where?
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. And not completely related, but it is confirmed that there is going to be new crafting recipes with Heart of Thorns. And they kind of talk about it a little bit later on, but I think this may have been as a separate thing.
Oh, okay. They also discuss supply line management, gain access to a network of regional merchants across Tyria with rare goods for trade. Your citywide swiftness boost raises to 15%. What does that mean?
Well, you start off at a 5% bonus.
Okay.
Oh,
this is each line.
For productive downtime, you don't get an increase in your speed. Supply line management gets you up to 15%, because it's going to cap out at 33% at the end of the line.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I gotcha. I hadn't realized that this was just each segment within that.
These merchants are going to offer older recipes that are harder to find.
Do you think maybe some of the season 1 or pre-season 1 stuff?
I believe so, yes. They kind of hinted at some of the stuff that a lot of people don't have recipes for.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be stuff that we just haven't seen for a really long time, or, like the Zealots recipes, they're not dropping anymore anywhere.
Yeah. Or the ones that Hunter talked about in his article, there's a sigil, the first Christmas, but it wasn't Winter's Day, but not subsequent ones.
They're also adding new recipes, including a new Melandru backpack and a lot of other things. And the recipes that are there at those merchants will be tradable. Now, the way that you'll be able to buy these recipes is with karma.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because they just took karma boosters out of the game.
Yeah. I still have almost 5, so yeah. Or 4. 5 or 4 million karma.
Probably.
Yeah.
These merchants will be roaming through Tyria to stay safe, and they'll be visible on the map when they are settled into where they need to be.
Okay. Just the sigils of bursting and sigil of generosity were the two that I couldn't remember the name of.
Okay. Josh also said to check them day to day, but he didn't clarify as to why. So maybe there's a rotation happening with these as well. That wasn't really made clear, but that is something that you could probably infer just from him saying that.
Interesting. So almost like a Nicholas the Traveler thing.
It's entirely possible that that's what it is, but they haven't said that that's what it is.
Interesting. Okay. The next line is noblesse oblige. Your revives are more powerful on the lower your ally's level. Your revives also remove a stack of armor damage and down penalty. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
More powerful equals much faster. If you're rezzing someone who is much lower level, speculative means so maybe reviving a level 7 might take 60% less time if you're level 80. They never talked about that.
They didn't talk numbers. I'm just speculating there.
Ah.
I think a lot of what they're doing with mentoring is pointing people in the right direction, and reviving them is great. That's why you get that fast revive. But severe hand-holding is something that I think should be frowned upon, and I think that's what they're trying to get across as well.
Yeah. It's mostly just a, hey, I'm here to help if you need it, but I'm not going to play the game for you.
Or, I will show you where the entrance to this jumping puzzle is. Now go do it. Fly, my pretties.
And finally, advanced logistics. You will automatically pick up nearby loot from fallen foes. Your citywide swiftness boost at this point then raises to 33%. So instant loot is what this gives. It is in addition to auto loot / AoE loot. It goes directly into your inventory, works even if you've been defeated, but you had credit enough to get loot from that enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby asked the question, why isn't this just being, or is this your question?
That's a question that was offered up on the forums.
Why isn't this just being given as a standard option? Why put it behind a mastery line? And the reply was, contrasts the mentor mastery where you aren't getting any monetary benefit for helping others. It's also hidden in a mastery line because of how crazy powerful botting would be if it were a check mark in the options menu. It only activates on creatures, not chests.
Yeah. Frankly, it seems kind of like a let's make the last item on a mastery line seem absurdly useful and necessary. This also will make people who aren't necessarily interested in helping others feel like they need to do the line so that they don't miss out on loot accidentally should they die or forget to loot a body while out in the field. This could potentially poison the well if people aren't vigilant with the report abuse button with regards to mentoring.
Oh, I think people would be pretty vigilant. I'm pretty quick on that thing, actually. So maybe I'm an anomaly, but I report people all the time. I'm a jerk that way, but I will just say I need this. I need this one. I need it.
I may need it as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, just last week, I remember I was defeated, and I had to run back specifically because I think it was, I can't remember if it was in a dungeon or an open world, but there were a lot of sparklies on the ground.
Oh.
And I had to run back and hope they didn't disappear before I got them. And I did get them, but still, it would be nice if they just went in without me needing to do anything.
Of course.
Yeah. It's magic. It's a magic land.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing, but it's also kind of like, I get it, but I don't like it as much.
Well, and the bots thing, that's all the explanation you really need.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
They also went on to explain that mastery points on training mastery lines with experience. So one of the other things that they said is that each story instance from Living World Season 2 will be a mastery point and will be retroactive.
Woo.
So that's good. And the core Tyria mastery points, it's going to have some new stuff and also some grandfathering in of old experience will be turned into mastery points as well.
Then Colin hopped on.
Mm-hmm.
Woo, Colin. To talk about betas. And it says all the feedback. I like how you wrote that. All the feedback, please, KK, thanks, bye.
That's essentially what he was saying, but there's a whole lot of other explanation behind it that we can go into. He listed out, like, most of the things that was being tested this weekend. So he listed off the Revenant full profession, the Stronghold, which we had seen and tested previously, but apparently the overtime was not working right.
Mm-hmm.
So that overtime change was finally enabled for this past weekend properly.
Speaking quickly, since we're on, did you play any Stronghold at all?
I did a couple of matches. I lost them both.
Mm-hmm.
I had a decent time.
I think I only had one Stronghold match. Happened to win, but I don't think it was because of me.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
The elite specializations we're in with, and his description of it, I think is pretty close, is that he called them as almost a new sub-profession.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely feel like the Dragon Hunter is a guardian with a ranger secondary.
Mm-hmm.
The Chronomancer is basically a mesmer with kind of a warrior.
Yeah.
Maybe?
And that,
I don't know.
like warrior with Warhorn, or the ability to push out like quickness or speed or something to their allies.
There's something there. I'm not sure which side profession it really should be going on there, but... And the Tempest feels like an L mixed with a monk.
Yep.
And then maybe Necro Guard for the Reaper?
Yep. Well, I thought it was interesting because it was one of the things we said about elite specializations when we first heard about them. That it felt a little bit like
Secondaries.
secondary professions.
Yeah. A bit. And then with further expansions, we'll be able to expand with further secondaries that you can choose from. And I think it'll be really hard if you have 2 elite specializations as your trait lines out of the 3.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh. Ooh. He said that there was going to be a lot of testing between mobs and creature balance, and I'm going to go ahead and say that the smoke scales with Shiro's teleport / shadow step really ticks me off.
Hey, that's not what you typed here. I'm such a jerk. Speaking of jerk, no one likes the smoke scales. They're jerky jerks.
They are.
Again, this is one of those things clicking. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. And I may have actually finally read the text below their name. It takes me a little while before I do that part, apparently. But I was like, I see what's happening here. Okay, I'll just hold off there. Okay, do this.
They said one of the other things they were working on was mastery progression rates and trying to find the right scaling for that. Mm-hmm. Which I think is extremely important as far as the longevity of the game, and I think I've talked about that already. He also was trying to remind people that you can use harvesting nodes and foods and boosters and all this kind of stuff during the beta to make yourself go a lot faster. Mm-hmm. But I totally didn't. I forgot.
Me too. I forgot to. I specifically didn't harvest or gather anything because I wasn't going to be able to keep it. So it didn't even occur to me to do it.
Yeah. Colin added that they had been experimenting with multiple ways for there to be new progression in the game. And I mean, we've kind of seen the iteration of this coming. And that the ultimate goal for the game was to add new traits and skills. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard for them to do that when you have World vs. World PvP and PvE.
Yeah.
And individual skills being added didn't make people care. Mm-hmm. So they tried antitoxin spray, which was a skill for all professions.
Yep.
And that didn't do what they wanted it to either.
Although, why did they take it away? Why not just leave it? Why?
I don't know. And then the trait system was put in with the new player experience because they wanted people to start caring about their traits and acquiring them. And then nobody did it. Mm-hmm. So that, quote, wasn't a meaningful answer either.
Yeah, it was a great concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all there is to say about that. We also talked about map rewards, which is, jumping puzzles, events, hearts, or as they're calling them now, tasks.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to get whatever material is being offered up for completing that map.
Did you look into that at all during the beta? Like, check it out?
I went on the map and hovered over all of the names, but I didn't actually go out and do much of anything in Quarteria.
The only thing I did was that one a raw path, which I suspect doesn't have map rewards, and it never really even occurred. I didn't investigate this one at all, frankly.
Right. All races were available for all professions, so that was new.
Mm-hmm. Including Revenant.
Correct. The verdant brink, they wanted to clarify that the part that we're seeing is about a quarter of the space, and it's just the jungle floor.
So, yep. It's not the canopy or the underground biomes yet.
So, we saw a third of that quarter, basically.
So that's fairly big.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he kind of went on about iteration and the way that Silver Waste was a bit of a building block with regards to creating Verdant Brink and the zones that follow.
Mm-hmm.
In that, if every fort in Silver Waste played completely differently, I think Silver Waste would be closer to the types of things we want to accomplish with this expansion. So you could say, I want to go play in Silver Waste today, and then you would ask yourself, which of the 4 forts do I want to play in, because I know I get to have a completely different experience in each one of those forts.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the next evolution of what a Silver Waste would be, and then layer all kinds of crazy other stuff on top of it, like adventures and meaningful leaderboards, and he kind of went off topic from there, but you know, he was getting to the end of the thought where it's basically like Silver Waste on steroids. And a lot more diverse.
He also then said the other zones that we're not seeing yet are distinct and different as well. They're not all the Silver Wastes on rinse repeat.
Yes.
Yeah. And the distinct day-night cycles are in the game, like are in the beta, but it isn't complete yet.
Yeah, the night cycle, well, okay, a lot of the events were bugged. That was the biggest, like, letdown for the beta. Yeah. A lot of the events were bugged, things would get stuck. It wasn't well there. But as far as playing and doing things, it was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt really good.
Yep.
My biggest sadness from this stream is that it cuts away. Like, they say, okay, we'll see you next time. And Colin throws his arm up for a high five, and then it fades to black.
Oh.
So he's left, like, perpetually hanging on the internet waiting for a high five. So,
high fives.
Colin, if you're hearing this and I give you a high five, just go with it.
Yeah. You can put your arm down.
Yeah.
Actually, hashtag in chat is saying that they did map rewards in Fireheart Rise, did one jumping puzzle and one event, and got the reward. So that's cool. What was
that is pretty cool.
What was the reward, if we can ask?
It's usually like a tier 4, 5, or 6 material. Like, it depends on the zone, I think.
Yeah.
And none of the starter zones had map rewards.
No. And they never will they?
Mm-hmm.
Some trophy thingy.
All right, then.
I want it to actually be called that now.
It wasn't a map. Okay. Huh. So at Gamescom, there was a bit of a media presentation for Massively OP with Kristen Cox.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking mostly about masteries, and there was a few interesting bits, mostly with the Exalted, because we don't know anything about them.
Okay.
Kristen talked about gliding, and she talked about, like, updrafts. She says, once you unlock updrafts, you can fly into pillars of wind that boost you up into the air, which will help you get further into the map. There are actually updraft puzzles where you have to hit a whole bunch of these updrafts in a row. And if you hit all of them, you'll eventually get to a reward at the end. Mm-hmm. Honestly, seeing daggers, because gliding is fun, but I'm pretty terrible at it. We really wanted it to be the case where you unlock a mastery, and then that mastery helps you find another mastery point to unlock another. Which I like. I like that a lot.
I'm gonna waste so much time.
Mm-hmm. A lot of time.
And swearing.
That's definitely going to be on the table.
Yeah.
Along with everything else.
Mm-hmm. After I flip it, nothing will be on the table.
With the Itzels is how you get the jumping mushrooms, the bouncy mushrooms.
They actually changed the line that mushrooms used to be their own line, like gliding.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've split it up now into the racial ones.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
So aside from bouncy mushrooms, there are adrenal mushrooms, which will refresh all of your skills immediately upon use. So I remember you had found one while we were wandering, and you were like, "Hey, I wonder what that does."
Mm-hmm.
So now you know.
The more you know, Jif. Jife.
Jive. There's also the It's a Language mastery, where if you learn to speak the It's a Language through Mastery Chain, they'll open up to you a little bit more and a little bit more trusting of you, so you can talk to their vendors and buy things that you couldn't buy before. But there's also a little bit of lore that comes along with that.
Yeah. I love the Itzel. I want to talk to them. I want to be their friend. Maybe not the Exalted, no. We don't know. So there's an Exalted mastery line as well.
The Exalted Markings Mastery can lead up to you being able to teleport to certain places, or unlocking golems for operations that you're able to use them, or even summon an Exalted Warrior to fight by your side, and they will even resurrect you should you become downed or defeated.
Kind of like the Skrit in the jumping puzzle in Silver Wastes.
It's a bit like that. It's like a little bit of an ally there.
Mm-hmm. Exalted Honing pierces through impenetrable bark, something we'll see on heavier Mordrum. It'll give you a big combat advantage, especially for classes that do have a lot of breaker bar ability. It'll be a big bonus for them. So that's very cool.
I remember seeing on one of the other times they were talking about impenetrable bark and how that was going to be like a really important thing to have, so it's probably something that you're going to need quite a lot of. Mm-hmm. The further that you go into the heart of Maguma.
Yeah.
And then there's also Exalted Purification, which kind of sounds like group content, but isn't. Because you summon a champion, which she specifically said, you cannot solo this.
So it's like a henchman from Guild Wars 1.
No. For you to fight, it's like a monster summoning token, basically.
Oh, okay.
That you will fight to get loot. It probably has some, like, crazy long recharge or something like that.
Like,
I don't know exactly
you can only do it, like,
work.
once every 3 days or something.
Right. I mean, it's going to be something, but I don't know it.
Interesting. So the Nuhawk have an enemy called the Chak. They're insects that throw goop, and one of the masteries with the Nuhawk is to be able to clear off the goop with your healing skill. The Nuhawk also have a system of tunnels to help you get around the new zones faster as you gain access through the mastery.
Yes.
The first one, the throw goop, I totally read that as throw poop.
It totally makes sense. Although, you know, when they were talking about throwing goop, it kind of reminded me of the scene in The Incredibles. Where Mr. Incredible is trying to escape as the alarms are going off, and there's these cannons shooting this black goo at him, like slowing him down, and they kind of expand out and stuff like that. And when they talked about like having to clear the goop off of you, like you'll get completely encased in this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It reminded me of that.
And finally, they talked about Corteria Masteries. So there's Pack Commander Mastery.
With the Corteria Masteries, that's basically like Pack Commander. We already talked about that from Points of Interest. I didn't feel the need to go into what they had said there. For Fractals, they had said, because that's also a Corteria Mastery, is that it will unlock new dailies and will allow you to craft a bunch of new infusions. She also briefly mentioned contextual buffs, which are called singularities, but that's probably the stuff that you can buy from Dessa that they had previously talked about. There's also the Corteria Mastery that allows you to unlock the legendary precursor of your choice, the themed 3 collection steps to unlock a precursor. Now there's a 4th tier in here because for the new set of legendaries we're putting in, you'll be able to go all the way to the full legendary item. So maybe no more farming T6s. 3 new legendaries will launch on the day with HOT, and then we'll add 3 more in updates over time. So there's only going to be 6 new legendaries with the expansion.
Well, and how many weapons is that? I think that's everything but underwater, probably.
Perhaps. The new legendaries are a little different in that they're not tradable. So we really want this to be a prestige achievement for you, and not just something you can buy on the trading post. We think it's much more rewarding that way. Totally understandable.
Mm-hmm.
There are 39 masteries.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And it's a system that they hope to use forever going forward, and it's easy for them to add to it as well. So it's definitely something that we're going to keep seeing over and over again.
Going back to the 3 legendaries at launch, but then 3 more over time, I also wonder if that is so that those come into game organically. Like there's a lore and story explanation as to why these weapons exist.
I'm cool with that, but and I was hoping for more.
Well, and instead of everything all at once, spread them out throughout the story.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with them having 3 at launch and then later, but I was hoping for quantity.
Quantity. Instant quantity.
Not necessarily instant, but quantity.
There was a game update yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a huge game update, really, but they did fix the story step victory or death to allow turret and anvil interactions during the airship phase, enabling personal story completion. Kind of important.
It is pretty important.
The Candy Corn Gobbler now grants the new, more functional booster effects at an adjusted duration per use. And story steps that grant gem store boosters now grant new boosters, which we'll talk a little bit further down.
And so speaking of the boosters, there was an update to the gem store. All of the boosters have been reworked.
Mm-hmm.
All previous boosters are no longer available. Previously purchased boosters will still work. A new experience booster is now available that grants 50% additional experience from all sources and game types, including World vs. World and PvP reward tracks, and gives a kill streak bonus of up to 100% on enemy NPCs. Why does it say up to 100%? I do not know, but that's what it says.
Yeah.
A new item booster is now available that grants crafting 50%, gathering 33%, and magic find 50% benefits from a single source, and summons a Black Lion merchant if the player's inventory is full after gathering resources.
I wonder what the cooldown on that is. Or just every time.
I don't know.
Because that would be really useful. Can you imagine? The landscape is now littered with Black Lion merchants. And they're all like silver wastes.
Mini pets have been hidden to preserve quality of play.
But Black Lion merchants, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. You're also going to get 10 seconds of swiftness after gathering a resource while this booster is active.
Yep, that is pretty sweet, actually.
A new heroic booster is now available, and that grants both item booster and experience booster, so both of those boosters combined in one.
That's crazy pants.
Yeah, single experience booster and item booster prices have been reduced by 33% permanently.
Yep. Which is
good move.
I'll be curious to see how many. I suspect only the newest of players bought any boosters from the gem store.
Probably.
And I'm curious how little they sold that they made the change. Because I suspect it wasn't well.
I don't think that many people bought boosters.
I have stacks and stacks and stacks of them. Well, no, like not stacks of 250, but I have
a lot of them that they're crowding up everything. Yeah.
Up to 50 of all these different boosters living in my bank.
I bought a whole bunch of powders a couple of weeks ago and converted all of them.
Anytime I get powders, I do conversion, but I still have tons.
There's an NPC that sells powders.
I should probably do that.
It'll cost you probably a gold to get everything taken care of, given how much you have.
Mm-hmm.
The Karma boosters are now available exclusively from in-game rewards. You can't buy them, I guess, is what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
For a limited time, you can claim a free heroic booster by visiting the gem store. So don't forget to log on to all of your accounts, people who have multiples, and get your free booster.
Have they said when that goes away?
I'm assuming it's going to be there for at least a while.
Like maybe over the weekend?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It could be there until next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I already got mine.
Well, that's true. Birthday boosters will be granted on character anniversaries. How is that any different than...
Like, the celebration boosters are still happening, just to let people know.
Okay. Yeah, they have not changed.
Yep.
Okay. The Black Lion chest now drops the new boosters. Celebration, Strength, Armor, Rejuvenation, and Speed boosters will continue to drop randomly from Black Lion chests as well.
Doesn't that just feel like they're flicking you off a little bit?
Well, you gotta love it when you get an armor repair one. I used to hoard those because they were like gold.
And now they're worthless.
Yes. There's ways to get... Oh, just a second. I'm gonna go into Heart of the Mists. Repair. I'm back.
Karma boosters, experience boosters, the old ones, magic find boosters, crafting boosters, gathering boosters, world XP boosters, killstreak experience boosters, and communal boost bonfires no longer drop from the Black Lion chest.
Oh, I like the bonfires.
I have a few.
Yeah.
I should use them sometime.
I have a couple too.
The new Dwayna weapon set is available at vendors for a limited time price of one complete Black Lion claim ticket from a Black Lion chest. Keys are available in the special category of the gem store for 125 gems.
Yay.
I was doing Vanna hands.
That was very good. Yes, you sounded lovely too.
Dwayna's weapon set features sharp curves and flowing cloth that will make your foe's mouth drop open in wonder as they drop dead from your attack.
Ba-ba-ba. And I love each and every weapon in this set. And whoever designed it needs to stop right now, because I do not have enough gold or tickets, and I am going to be very sad that I will not be able to have each and every weapon from this set.
Who do you need them for? Just curious.
Me.
No, just characters.
All of them. I don't know. I love every weapon. I have no idea. I love them all.
Okay. I don't particularly care for them, so okay.
I kind of feel like this is one of those sets that the higher your graphics setting is, the nicer, like...
Well, yes, definitely.
It's true across the board, but these ones in particular, because the gold is so shiny. And I love them all. I really do. It's very sad. It's sad how much I like them. On Monday, there was another teaser image, and today, Massively OP was able to post an exclusive about the Revenant Elite spec, which is going to be called the Herald. As in Herald, not Harold. It's not some guy named Harold. Harold the Revenant.
Harold the Revenant. You need to make that character now, you know.
I really do. I don't think I could. Yeah, I have a spot. I can make Harold. Harold the Herald. So the Herald utilizes glint as the elite legend and marks the return of the 6 facets as her featured skills. So you can watch the Revenant Elite Specialization in action this Friday, August 14th on Points of Interest, airing at 3 p.m. EDT, noon PDT, on the official Guild Wars 2 Twitch channel. Game designer Roy Kronecker will be the special guest with Poi host Ruby Bear as they give fans an in-depth look at the Herald's skills, weapons, and traits. Harold the Herald.
Harold the Herald. The legendary Dragon Stance is full of abilities that bolster your allies in tough situations, encouraging you to remain close to them at all times to reap benefits of the stance. Herald to the world, the glint has come.
I need that to happen.
In the case of Glint, we'll gain access to the shield, and she'll channel her supportive nature through the player character using a host of boons and defensive abilities. I'll give you a good rundown of the shield and utility skills you can expect, but the short version is that you become much more effective when you stand with your comrades in battle and offer them the protection of your stance.
Stand behind my stance. It will protect you.
Yes.
They also go over all the underwater skills associated with Spear and an in-depth Q&A with Roy Kronecker. In the Q&A, specifically about the underwater, Roy says, for the underwater harpoon on the Revenant, we're trying something a bit different, as you can see that there are 2 auto attack skills with no recharge. This means that you can choose to fight at range or a melee, or mix them up depending on the situation. Guild Wars Monk on Twitter actually tweeted at Roy and said, can you explain more clearly what you mean by 2 auto attacks on Spear? Will they be 1 and 2 slots? And Roy replied, yes, the number 1 and number 2 slots. You will see in my blog post, and the poi will show it off in game.
I'm excited to see what the Herald will bring. See, now I only think of Herald, the Herald, will bring to the Revenant, and I'm curious to see how well it goes. I think it's kind of like all of these specializations are like, let's give everybody support builds now, and I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over during the World Tournament series, John Corpening introduced us to the concept of PvP leagues, and there was also a much longer blog post explaining a lot more about the leagues and what they are meant to do. And basically, there's going to be league seasons.
Mm-hmm.
During a season, players begin in the starter division and earn their way up to the next by defeating other players within their division, earning rewards and gaining prestigious items along the way. And all of these divisions, everybody starts at 0 at the beginning of a season. That's how it goes. There's 6 divisions. They go from 1, which they're calling Amber, all the way up to Legendary. And this gives basically everybody a chance to play with people that are at their level.
Yep.
In the first couple of days or weeks of a season, you might get your butt handed to you repeatedly because everybody's on the same one.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is that the more matches you play, at least in the first division, let me explain the tiers. There's a division. There's tiers within that division. There's pips within that tier.
Oh, there'll be tiers.
Yes, there will be tiers. And so with Division 1, the one that you start off with, you will get rewarded for just playing matches. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You play matches, you're going to go up in tiers and get through that division as quickly as possible. Division 2 and 3 means that you can lose pips for losing a match, but you won't lose tiers that you've completed. So, like, if you're stuck in a rut, you don't need to worry about it. You're not going to lose the division or tier that you've gotten up to so far.
Yeah.
4 and 5 means that you'll lose pips and tiers, but not go down a division if you have a loss. So, that's good.
Yes. And not at all confusing.
It kind of is, but I mean, we'll get there. It'll start to become second nature once it's in the game. That's how things go.
Yeah.
With the Legendary Division, which is the 6th, it's a repeatable division that gives players a chance to climb as high as they can and earn rewards each time through. So it's a repeatable reward track, kind of.
Okay.
Nameplate badges will signify your division in the current season and shortly after the end. Legendary Division holders will earn a permanent title as well.
Which makes sense. And I thought their reasoning behind this was really good. Like, if everything else is being reset, if you made it that far, woo, yay for you.
Yeah.
You get to keep it.
Exactly. That seems fair. You know, considering the volume of players that are now playing PvP.
Where was it they were talking about how they've had a big, they've been gaining more and more PvP players?
Colin mentioned it on Poi.
Okay, it was that, yeah.
Maybe John Corpening said it as well. Somebody else may have said that during one of the WTS things. They're also adding the Wings of Glory backpack. You'll earn League tokens that will unlock new upgrades to these wing backpacks. And newest items will always be offered at a discount, so make sure to earn your glorious wings while they're the hot new item in PvP leagues. So, like, as soon as leagues get started, you want to go ahead and get your backpack item.
Well, it makes me think like the Black Lion claim.
It is. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, so when a weapon set is first introduced, they're only 1 ticket, but they go up after that.
Exactly. And the backpack skin for Wings of Glory reminds me precisely of the Hall of Heroes concept art, or the Hall of Heroes statues, with the kind of angel-looking things. Like, their wings look a lot like the Wings of Glory.
Yep.
To me.
I had them both side by side, and there are definite style differences, but because the style of the game are different from each other.
Has been updated quite a bit.
Yeah, but there's definitely that vibe. And it made me think also of the Glorious Armor. They also have, like, those kind of wings on the shoulders often and stuff like that, so.
Yep. They are also adding a legendary backpack, which, first legendary backpack.
Yeah.
Participating in League play will allow you to begin a journey toward building an entirely new and unique legendary back item. You'll begin by gaining the ability to build the collection for the precursor. Later, you'll build that precursor into a legendary backpack, the Ascension. Though this new legendary item will focus on having players earn rewards from competitive PvP, it will also require attaining other items that go into the final collection to build it.
Yeah,
I know.
see some things spiking in price.
Yeah. The Dishonor system is coming back. Yay!
Yay, which I had not realized it had gone away.
I'm not sure people had realized it had gone away either, because I've been seeing a lot less people deserting.
I guess that's true, but I was seeing more deserting after the Dishonor came in than before. But then again, I wasn't really PvPing all that much before, so meh.
There's also the guild team leaderboards. Playing as a guild team during a league season will adjust your rating, and that rating will be shown on the leaderboards. Ratings will decay with time, so inactive teams will not be able to hold top spots on the leaderboard.
Which is fair.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Yep.
The best sentence of the article comes at the end with, "We're looking forward to crushing our opponents in friendly competition, standing atop their bloody helms in the air of good sportsmanship, climbing to the next division, and then casting their corpses away. All in good fun."
Yes. I was like, yeah, that's pretty entertaining.
It is pretty amazing.
Following on along the theme of PvP, we wanted to just send a special congratulations to the Abjured officially for their win at the World Tournament Series. There were a lot of great games, but there were definitely a few matches in particular that were intense, as I said earlier, just like intense.
Mm-hmm. With all the smack talking from Helseth, it just made me happy that he lost.
Yeah.
That's my only commentary on the World Tournament Series.
But he's entertaining. Oh, maybe not.
Not so much.
Okay.
The challenging group content will be revealed at PAX Prime.
Mm-hmm.
The panel is listed at 10:30 a.m. PST on Saturday, August 29th, is Guild Wars 2, The Journey Ahead. And it was also confirmed that Heart of Thorns will be launching this calendar year on one of the Twitch streams from Gamescom. Mm-hmm. And they also said so on Twitter, too, after the fact.
They were like, "Did you notice? Hey, everyone, did you notice?" They're like, "Oh, we did notice!" In fact, I was watching the Twitch stream where that announcement was made, and I was on my phone, so if I left the Twitch stream to tweet about that, I would have...
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't tweet until this is over.
I was like, man, why is nobody talking about this? And then other people were like, well, because everybody assumed it was going to be a thing. And I was like,
no,
but it wasn't a thing.
I didn't assume it was a thing. It was brand new information to me. Like, I mean, I think people, like, figured, but official.
Yeah.
And there were a fair number of people saying not this year, so... Or hypothesizing not this year.
Correct.
We also have a PSA for audio screech when launching Guild Wars 2 in Windows 10. So if you're running Windows 10 and getting this awful audio screech, what you need to do is right-click on gw2.exe, select Properties, select the tab Compatibility, and check the box Run this program in compatibility mode for, and then you select Windows 7.
Yes.
And that was thanks to Reddit user Zurich.
Thank you so much, because I thought it was just my system. It was driving me absolutely bonkers.
Mimic it. What did it sound like, Celeste? I'm curious.
It sounded like audio feedback.
Okay.
Like a meh kind of sound. It was terrible. And it was every time I launched the game.
Oh. So was it just
Such
at
a
launch,
first
or was it
world
the
problem.
whole time you played?
No, it was just when you were starting the game.
Oh, okay.
When it goes to the screen where it's white and then goes to the character select.
Gotcha.
It's that.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, that's very irritating, and I want to tear my ears off. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, good to know that that is something that everybody can correct if they have upgraded to Windows 10. Tales of Tyria.
Surviving the Mists will return next week.
Yes.
We're keeping it on even number shows, so 162 equals Surviving the Mists.
Yes. And there's just no damn time for Ask and Azura this week.
No.
For Tales of Tyria, over on Tumblr, consider Mordramoth willingly letting the Pact get into the heart of his jungle for the purpose of capturing Traherne specifically, the one Sylvari to successfully gather an army and kill an Elder Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet was alive when the Pact was formed, she was alive when it killed Zaitan, and as a secondborn, she knew the names and faces of all firstborn, including Traherne. When she fell to the corruption, she could have, willingly or otherwise, presented all such knowledge to Mordramoth. The Elder Dragon learnt of the Pact. The Elder Dragon learnt of Traherne, the firstborn that helped unite Tyria, gather an army, and kill a fellow Elder Dragon. Mordramoth knew just how close the Pact would come to his doorstep once Scarlet's plan was complete. He knew what Sylvari would be leading them.
Mm-hmm.
And for all of us, Sylvari players, also consider this. Mordramoth learnt the names and faces of the Sylvari commander that walked at Traherne's side. Traherne was taken alive. Destiny's Edge, what he could get of it, were also taken alive. Mordramoth goes beyond Zaitan and acts as a larger threat than Zaitan ever could by these acts alone. He knows about the important players that tried to and managed to kill an Elder Dragon, and has taken them prisoner alive, and this is by no means an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Consider Mordramoth wants an army that knows how to kill other Elder Dragons. Nobody said dragons play nicely with one another.
First of all, awesome. That is
Yes.
beautiful. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure the opposite has been said. They've often been in conflict with each other, the dragons.
Well, yeah.
So, yep, no one said that they play nice. In fact, they do not care for each other.
Not one bit, because they have to share all that magic with everybody else.
Mm-hmm. They don't like anyone else at the food bowl.
Definitely. Found this over on Tumblr. Felidae, Char, you're awesome, because that is just...
It is awesome. Love it. And since we've been talking about Gamescom, practically this entire episode, there is an official Flickr account for ArenaNet with pictures from Gamescom, and they're wonderful photographs. Looks like they had a really good turnout for Guild Wars 2 specifically, but across the board as well. The cosplays are all pretty great, and there was one of a Guild Wars 2 tattoo of Sylvari, and that is some serious dedication, and it was incredibly well crafted tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very well done. Also, I am jealous of the swag that was given out at Gamescom.
Yeah, Celeste and I were tweeting at each other about it, or direct messaging, like, wow, look at all that awesome swag.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh.
Little mini Ritlock stuffed toy.
And a lanyard, and a shirt. There's a lot of really great pictures. I could scroll on this for quite a while, because there's about 200 of them in here. But, you know, you guys get the idea. Alex, also known as RPG Shack from Guild Gab, is doing a 24-hour stream for Cancer Charity on August 29th. And you can go and check it out. He's got a site on Just Giving for Macmillan Gaming Marathon 2015, which is MAC for Macmillan. You guys should go check it out.
Yeah.
And there is an audio file that I will insert here.
Hey everybody, Chris here from MMO Reporter. First of all, I want to thank everyone who backed our Kickstarter. You are amazing. Thank you so much. I also want to mention that we are continuing our fundraising for PAX Prime at MMOreporter.com/support with a stretch goal of getting a video from the meetup. Yes, that's right. You heard it correct. There is a meetup. We'll be meeting at the Rock Bottom this year, and you can find all the information that you need, including the RSVP link at MMOreporter.com/PAX. If you're planning to go to the meetup, make sure that you let me know. Thanks again for supporting the Kickstarter, everyone, and for continuing to listen to all the shows on the MMO Reporter Network, and I hope to see you in game.
Allona, thank you for doing the show with me this week.
Thank you, Celeste.
And thank you, chat room, for being, oh my gosh, crazy active and awesome. And thank you for downloading the show. We hope that you enjoyed it, or watching it on YouTube. And we hope more than anything else in the whole wide world of Tyria, that we will see you in-game.
The Legion calls.
So if you have a community event that you would like for us to share, go ahead and send us an email.
Seize the moment.
And if you've got a burning question or for our Ask an Azura segment, just let us know.
I'm selling. You buying?
We have coupon codes for Doghouse Systems. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter at doghousesystems.com to get an additional 120 gigabyte Super Star Destroyer drive for free on their next build.
Nice gear.
Or a star-studded diaper.
Or a star-studded diaper.
Yep.
No free samples.
Patreon page. If you're in love with the show or the network, please consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page.
Thanks for pitching in.
In the very least, it helps us keep the metaphorical lights on. So check it out at patreon.com/MMO Reporter.
That fulfills my needs. Thanks so much.
audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. Books!
Books, now with sound!
Knowledge is the greatest treasure.
If you want a free audiobook, you should go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter.
That's valuable.
So, Allona, if people want to get in contact with us, how would they do so?
They would email us at gwreporter@mmoreporter.com. Twitter is @gwreporter. Our website is guildwarsreporter.com.
You must visit more often.
Voicemail is 616-666-6778, or use the widget on the right-hand side of the website. Our YouTube channel is MMO Reporter Network, and remember to like our videos and subscribe to the GW Reporter playlist. And if you feel like it, wander around and see what other shows are on the network that you might enjoy.
You are a welcome guest.
Facebook is GW Reporter. Tumblr is gwreporter.tumblr.com.
In a world where you can visit us on Twitter, I am Ultra at Ultratown.
Find me at Hunter's Insight.
Allona may be found at One Big Pair.
As in PEAR.
And Celeste at Selly Uki.
CELEOOKIE.
Yeah. Or you can visit us in-game.
I'm onebigpair.1249.
And Ultra is?
Ultratown.5683.
And I'm Selyuki.5046.
May the spirits of the wild watch over you.
Good hunting.
Keep your blade sharp and your powder dry.
Take care of yourself.
May the Six watch over you.
Until next time.
Ready to go?
You're not done. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. I messed that up. Wow, that's the first in a really long time that I've messed it up.
Well, that's okay. I'm totally okay with you messing that up. That's keep messing it up. It's all good. I'm not opening a website here. Okay, you can go now.
Three, 2, 1. For the Overlord.
Overlord!
I'll put in there what somebody tells me to put in there. That was bad. That was really, really bad.
What?
I can't believe you haven't already tuned in on that.
I missed something.
Phrasing.
Oh.
That's what you missed.
Aw.
So let's go ahead and talk about
There's this guy, he did a video on Agony. His name was Irish Dog. His video may be helpful.
Oh.
Actually, Irish Dog does not sound like that, FYI. They are very good. They are good videos. I recommend people watch them.
Clear, but that is something that you could probably infer just from him saying that.
Where are we talking about here?
For the supply line merchants.
There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He listed out like most of the things that was being tested this weekend. Sorry, I had a proposition thing in my head happening that went all wrong. Previously purchased Boosters?
Booster.
Now, moving along to Tales of Tyria.
Finally.
Yeah. Finally. God, there was a lot of news.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.